Is atheism dead? Have scientists found the biblical city of Sodom? Does fine-tuning prove the existence of God? Becket Cook and Eric Mataxes, I believe his name is, certainly want you to think so. What is up, you heathens and demons, you sinners and saints, you beautiful, blasphemous bastards? Welcome back to the Raging Atheist. I am your boy Nakasuchi, and today I'm going to be covering Becket Cook again, his Becket Cook show here on YouTube, and his claims that atheism is dead, bringing on Eric Mataxes, I believe his name is, to promote his book, Is Atheism Dead? And they're going to discuss a couple interesting things that I wanted to focus on.
Hey guys, welcome to the show. Today I have a very special guest, a man who needs no introduction, but I will introduce him. He's a #1 best-selling author, books like Bonhoeffer et al., and he's the host of the Eric Mataxes Show and Socrates in the City. And he's just written a new book called Is Atheism Dead?, which is amazing. Welcome, Eric Mataxes.
You know, I don't know who Eric Mataxes is. I mean, seeing him in this interview looks a little familiar, maybe I've seen him on television somewhere. Not familiar with him, though. Am very familiar with Becket Cook and Becket Cook's attempts to demonize homosexuality in an attempt to get evangelical viewers. So this should be interesting.
It's not about me, it's about the book.
It's about the book. I love the cover, by the way.
It's an
allusion to the Time magazine article from 1966, right?
Well, at least, yes. It's that's correct. And I've literally never been more excited about a book than I am about this book. There's stuff in here that I am astonished at this information. So I'm thrilled I got to put it in a book.
All right, so now that I've met Eric, he seems kind of like a pompous ass. Definitely don't like his book, the title of his book, haven't even read it. No, I'm not going to like it. But, you know, I shouldn't judge somebody until I hear them out.
So that people can read it, because nobody seems to be writing about some of this stuff. I don't know how it is that I got to discover this stuff or to meet people who apprised me of this information, but I said, this is wild evidence for the existence of God. I mean, just unprecedented, I would almost say end times kind of evidence. Like, I don't know how it is that these things get revealed now, but they've been revealed and people need to at least know what is out there. So that's why I wrote the book.
Okay, so like ground-shattering new truth that nobody knows, I'm open to that. I'm down for that. So bring it at me, dog. Blow my mind. Show me how atheism is dead, and I'm just like stupid for being an atheist.
Over the years, I read a lot of kind of apologetics or science stuff, and when I was writing my book on miracles, I thought, the biggest miracle, without any question, is the idea of the fine-tuned universe, the idea that the more science learns, the more impossible it is to believe there's no God, that we got here randomly.
All right, so here we go. The biggest miracle is the fine-tuned universe. I mean, fine-tuning is an argument. It's not proof of a God, and it's certainly not a miracle. Miracles are things that shouldn't happen but do. Fine-tuning, if it exists, which I'm not necessarily sure that it does, is the natural way of our universe. So in order for our universe to be fine-tuned to produce humans, whatever that means, humans would have to be here to observe that. So the fact that we're here to observe it doesn't say anything. It says, yeah, we live in a universe that seems to be able to produce carbon-based life. Now, under different models, physics, string theory, you can, there is speculation, there's theory that other universes could be tuned, if you want to use that word, to breed different kinds of life, not carbon-based life. And the fact, we only see a sliver of the universe, we assume that the entire universe is like the universe that we see. But outside of that, this whole fine-tuning argument has been thoroughly argued against, especially when you consider that 99.9999999, I can keep going with the 9% of the universe is incapable of supporting life. It just, you can't exist in space as life. You have to have spacesuits. Modern technology allows us to go up there and not die. So that's a problem for fine-tuning, and no miracles here. It's just the way of the universe, and humans are here. We're observing the universe. But again, this is a debate, right? And there are plenty of people that would debate my side of that far better than me. But even I, with my, huge lack of genius, I don't pretend to be a doctor. I don't pretend to be a scientist. I am just me. I present myself as I am, who I am. But even I can fucking understand that.
I remember thinking I probably need to dip back into this at some point. And it was right at the beginning of COVID. I thought of two people that I had met and things they had told me. And I said, that's reason enough to write a book that deals with all this stuff.
I mean, not really. You met two people for a book on whether fine-tuning is a miracle, or if, and we're about to get to it, the biblical city of Sodom has been discovered. You're going to talk to two people. You're not going to try to get a consensus. You're not going to try to see what other scientists are saying. You're going to talk to two people.
And the two people are a guy named Dr. James Tour. He's a nanoscientist, organic chemist at Rice University in Houston.
Right.
And the other guy is an archaeologist in Albuquerque. And I just, it seems like randomly met them, and they told me these wild stories. I mean, I shouldn't put it that way. I mean, they explained some things to me with tremendous evidence. And I thought, how is it possible that nobody knows this? This is like earth-shaking information.
All right. I think you put it accurately the first time. Some wild stories. So, Dr. James Tour is a brilliant man, a chemist, works in nanoscience, has papers, has patents. Without a doubt, brilliant, but an evangelical. So he's got this evangelical bias slant. Now, that doesn't take away from his brilliance, but it could impact his judgment on things like fine-tuning, for instance. He's probably a brilliant orator for the fine-tuning argument, not the fine-tuning supreme evidence for the existence of a God. And again, he's a chemist. He's not an astronomer, he's not a physicist. I'm not taking away from his credentials. But throughout history, some of the greatest minds have been religious and had that religious slant, that religious bias. The fact that you have a religion doesn't take away at all from your brilliance. But I think it can affect it. And then we're going to come to this archaeologist. And we're going to talk about this.
The story of Dr. Collins, this was just written up in Nature, and I actually wrote about it in Newsweek. Obviously, there's a chapter on it in my book, but Newsweek.com has a very short version that I just wrote. But the fact is that Dr. Stephen Collins discovered biblical Sodom. It is just like a stunning concept.
All right, so this dude here is trying to present like Dr. Stephen Collins discovered for a fact the biblical city of Sodom. And that's not quite necessarily the truth. Dr. Stephen Collins certainly claims that he's discovered the biblical city of Sodom. And some people agree that it could be a potential site for the biblical city of Sodom. But not all. And certainly the people agreeing with him are certainly evangelicals, very, very religious Christians. But most people looking for the city of Sodom are actually looking way farther to the north. Dr. Stephen Collins seems to be the only one that said, well, no, by my readings of the Bible, Sodom would have been this far to the south. So there is a lot of argument over whether this could possibly be the city at all. So what had happened was Dr. Stephen Collins, through reading the Bible, decided that people were looking in the wrong space. So he went south and he chose the largest of the Bronze Age excavations at the time. A site called Tal el Hammam is the site that he's talking about. Now, it's not called Sodom, it's called Tal el Hammam. But they think that this might be the city that the story is based on. And there's no scientific consensus to this. There's no, plains of salt, as, the preacher said when he talked about finding the city of Sodom. There is no consensus. There is this one archaeologist who is saying he found the city of Sodom. And then some other, I'm not going to take away from their smarts or their credentials, but they are definite Christians, agree with him. Others do not. In fact, I would say probably most of archaeology doesn't agree with him. But even if he's correct, let's take a look at what happened to this city. Now, I went back and reread Genesis 18 and 19, the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, and it clearly says that God rained down sulfur on the city, destroying it. It also said that Lot's wife turned into a pillar of salt just by turning around and looking at it. Now, what happened to this city, which is a very big city, would have been a very big city, was, by all accounts, destroyed by fire. Now, this could be fire from an asteroid. I think that seems to be the leading theory, is that an asteroid came down, a fairly big asteroid, exploded right above the city, destroying the city. Now, this is a natural event. And I don't think that if you're a safe enough distance away, as Lot and his family appears to be, because Lot and his two daughters were able to escape unharmed, not an event that if you turn around and observe it, you're going to turn into a pillar of salt, as we see in the picture behind me. That's just not going to happen. And it would have been a natural event. It would have been a catastrophic event for the people of the time. Like, this entire city just wiped away. It appears like it became a wasteland for 700 years, which would indicate, I think, maybe some asteroid explosion, making it inhabitable for such a long time. But by no means does this suggest what the story says about Sodom and Gomorrah, and in fact it suggests that the story would have been embellished and mythicized. That the people at the time, hearing about this great thing coming from the sky, destroying this entire city, well, they would have inferred God there. They would have mythicized this story. So even if this is the lost biblical city of Sodom, it doesn't prove God. It just proved that a city was destroyed by fire. But again, it is not scientific consensus that this is the lost biblical city of Sodom. Plenty of biblical archaeologists are still searching for Sodom, and they're searching in the areas that they usually search, to the north of where this site is. So when these two people present to you that it's a fact that the biblical city of Sodom has been found, no, it's not a fact. What is a fact, even if they do find the city of Sodom, it doesn't prove that God exists. It only proves that, like throughout the Bible, they used a real place to reference their stories. And it would also prove, if this was indeed Sodom, that it wasn't some God-made event, it was a natural event, an asteroid coming down and destroying the city. Now, back then, you could have argued that was God. Now, we understand that it's not. We understand the universe better now. You understand that, right? The unending attempts of these apologists and these Christian propagandists to twist science, to warp science, to make you believe untruth and call it truth. Well, I guess that's what religion has been doing for thousands of years. I want to thank you guys for watching. If you like the video, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share me on your social media, comment in the comment section below. Your interactions on this channel will be the only thing that grows this channel. I'm demonetized. YouTube doesn't really like me that much. If you're a patron, you guys are the shit. I got new Patreon slides coming. I'm probably going to put them closer to the beginning of the videos so I can run end screens. So new Patreon slides are coming. A lot of new Patreon content just for your patrons. Only cost $1 a month and you get that extra content. So if you're interested in becoming a patron, link is in the description below. Patrons, I love you. Viewers, I love you. I'll see you soon.